All right, good morning. Good afternoon. It's afternoon down here in Brazil, same back home. Um, I just wanted to, hold on to the main. I just wanted to, um, yeah, man. Look, so this week and a lot of things been going on. I wanted to commemorate the retirement of one Jeremy Lin. And, look, you talk about a guy, I'm a Knicks fan, right? So this is Knicks view of optimistic Knicks fans. So there's a couple things I want to talk about real quick. But I do want to commemorate the retirement of Jeremy Lin because he's a guy, I put it this way, he is the beginning of me coming on the internet, period, Facebook, the internet, period, and talking about sports, right? So, Linsanity was a hell of a run. It was a really exciting time for me as a Knicks fan, a really exciting time, right? Let's keep it a stat. The Knicks had went through a lot of years of shit. Mediocrity. And see, the worst part about it is we were never bad enough to get that next superstar in the draft. That's the frustrating part. Like, the Knicks were bad, but they were stuck in that 30-win, just not good enough to get a lottery win or a lottery fix for us. Like, because that's what they do. And we weren't bad enough, and we weren't good enough to make the playoffs. Or even when we made the playoffs, make any serious type of playoff runs. Okay? So, many years of that, Linsanity was an exciting time because that team was struggling. As I said going in, they have no point guard. Tony Douglas. You had Tony Douglas, and then they pretty much, they had Tony Douglas, and then they had Mike Vivian, Baron Davis. Now, those Mike Vivian, Baron Davis, pretty much at the end of their careers, pretty much. And, at that point, that's what, that really there was a void. And Tony Douglas was running point. It just wasn't working. He's not a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard, combo guard. He's 6'1". You had injuries to Melo. You had injuries to Amari. And at that point, something had to be done. So lo and behold, they put Jeremy Lin in the lineup. As we know, he was cooking. He cooked for a couple of weeks. All right? Now, the controversy ensued when my man Melo got back from injury, right? Amari was healthy for a couple of games. He got hurt again. Melo came back. And here's the tricky part of that whole scenario, is that Mike D'Antoni was just not the coach to put everything together. Knicks were playing no defense. Linsanity was a shot in the arm. The kid had a good first step. He had a quick first step. He was had pretty good court vision. So he was decent. He was a pretty decent point guard. Not a superstar. We know this. Would never made any All-Stars. But he could play. And that's the significance, man. Shout out to my boy Joey Lau. I hope you see this video because, again, I've always had mixed feelings about the whole Linsanity situation. I know you're not the biggest Melo fan. And, again, Lin coming up with the Knicks, that was a great story, man. Honestly, bro. This is January, February, March of 2012. 13 years ago. More than 13 years ago. And, the controversy ensued where it's like, well, okay, the league is kind of catching up to this guy. and you have a superstar that you traded all that for. You have a superstar who, could be, is definitely an all-star, had MVP level potential in Carmelo Anthony. They put him back in they tried to work him into the lineup. It just, the chemistry, the on-court chemistry wasn't there, and Mike D'Antoni's offense was not bringing it out. And that where the issue, where the controversy kind of lied. And it's that the situation, basically the situation was, it caused this fake rift in the media as if Melo was here. And again, that's when I had to come online and speak the truth. Because number one, I'm one of these guys. Again, I'm King Crease Bro. I'm Mr. 10 Toes Down. Look, I don't know no more than anybody else. But one thing I knew is that Mike D'Antoni was not the coach. He wasn't the coach I wanted. I wanted Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson brought the San Antonio, let's go to say Warriors, into pretty much spot where they would get to a championship level. He improved that team. There was no improvement under D'Antoni. There was just some meager games and one playoff appearance. When Melo was there, they were 2 games over 500. When they traded for Melo, everybody acted like the Knicks were some sort of contenders. They had spent a lot of money to sign Mari Stoudemire in the offseason after striking out on LeBron and Wade and Bosh and everybody else. Mari was a consolation prize, and then, okay, who's the next guy we need? Let's trade for Mari. Let's trade for Melo. Okay, but the problem is, again, 4 years of D'Antoni there was no point guard. And that was the situation. Like, you don't run a D'Antoni system, and this is what killed me about Donnie Walsh, is you don't run a D'Antoni system without a point guard. As we know, look, Steve Nash is one of those guys who I thought was pretty much propagated by the Mike D'Antoni system. Another guy I actually like, it's ironic because, there would be a D'Antoni Lin reunion in Houston, and that would be James Harden. Obviously, James Harden, again, superstar potential, superstar level. He get the numbers he gets in the D'Antoni system based on the pace and scoring that they play, way that they play. That was going to come forward. Okay? All right. End of the day, Lane got hurt towards meniscus, didn't play for the Knicks in the playoffs, and wound up as a restricted free agent, signing with Houston, take the poison pill. Had a good career, Houston, LA, the Nets, Toronto. I believe that's all the teams he played for. He might have played for somebody in between, but 2019, I believe that was his last stint in the NBA. He's been playing overseas, I believe Taiwan. Superstar, international superstar. As a marketing tool and as again, good player. He was an NBA player. He proved that. He proved that, they should have given him a chance. Look, some guys don't get drafted who should get drafted. Some guys don't get roster invites. We've seen a lot of guys since then who are not Lin or not Asian or whatever, like Austin Reeves. We've seen guys, undrafted free agents, get their shot and wind up carving out NBA careers for themselves. So, again, at the end of the day, I just, went over the history of it, how I felt as a Knicks fan. With a lot of bandwagon fans, and that's cool. Again, Lin was a good guy, a good citizen, never did anything wrong. And again, honestly, once he left, I was still a fan. I was still rooting for him, but he's no longer a Knick. I root for my team before I root for any player. So, I wish him the best, but the Knicks had to move on. And again, unfortunately, in the Melo era, we didn't put, and I've had so many criticisms of all the coaches and all of the, especially Phil Jackson and the errors that they made, the players that they passed on. I had a lot of criticism of a lot of things, right? So let's get to present Knick business, all right? So salute to Lin, but let's get to present Knick business. And this issue with Pablo Torre, thinking, well, he uncovered the situation with He uncovered the situation the Clippers. He uncovered the situation with the Clippers. Okay, the whole thing about, and I'll see what comes of it. I haven't really been, honestly, it's kind of cringy to me. It really is cringy because I don't want to see a team get punished, but by the same token, teams need to follow the rules, right? The salary cap rules are in place. The league is a salary cap league, which means you can't just go and spend unlimited to get stars, right? And if you get stars that take less and you pay them, you compensate them in other ways, that's circumventing the salary cap, okay? Because it's Knicks for clicks culture, and you know, this guy still, I don't know if he works for you. I don't know who works for who anymore, bro, for real. You guys, man, it is what it is, but I don't know who works for who anymore. I'm really not feeling this, like, yeah, it's so funny because it's only 3 years ago we signed Jalen Brunson in the offseason. Only 3 years ago. And everybody clowned the Knicks for that deal. Everybody clowned the Knicks. So how could you give this average player $104 million? Not realizing, okay, $104 million, that's pretty much the going rate for players of his caliber. And honestly, Jalen Brunson has played at an MVP type level. You feel me? I mean, he's played at a borderline MVP type level where in certain years you might give him, like, he's gotten MVP votes, he's gotten All-NBA votes. He's an All-NBA caliber player. I have him as the 7th best player in the league. And now, because he went what he did is he strategized himself. He took an extension a year early, guarding himself from any injury issues, any fall off in his play, and he took potentially $100 million less on the life of a deal. Now, again, if anybody understands this, he did pretty much the same thing as his draft of his former teammate and draft partner Luka. He took a contract extension. This is the same year Luka was contract extension eligible, and he took a couple of dollars less from the Lakers to set himself up for the Supermax a couple of years from now. So again, whether he takes it or not, what he did was set his team up because, yes, he has his college teammates in Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart, and he had DiVincenzo, but we had to make the trade for Karl Anthony Towns, who is a Supermax player right now, making $50-something million a year, okay? He set it up for the benefit of his team. You're not going to find nothing, Pablo Torre. The Knicks, I want people to understand this. The Knicks are right down the street from NBA headquarters. Like, not right down the street, but pretty much, you know, a stone's throw. A good walk on a New York summer day. You can walk from NBA headquarters to Madison Square Garden headquarters. Okay? The Knicks are not doing nothing. The Knicks are not doing nothing right under the NBA officer's nose. These damn masks down here, man. But they're not doing anything under the NBA officer's nose. So you're doing the Knicks for clicks thing, Pablo Torre. We're not falling for it. Don't try it. Don't even go there. You know, don't go there, please. Okay? If you want to sit there and investigate somebody, investigate LeBron James for getting the Lakers to draft his unqualified son. And I'm not gonna go into that, okay? But the idea that giving Rick Brunson, who now, mind you, got a demotion, is not making hundreds of millions of dollars. They're nowhere near compensated in the $27 million range. Giving his father a job, like, think about this, and I said this before. Bronny lived in it, I think still lives in it. I mean, I'm sure he probably got his own, I'm sure by now he probably got his own apartment, place, condo, whatever. I don't know what they do, but probably he still lives on the James property. Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brunson is a grown adult and has been that for a while, living on his own. So the idea that giving Rick Brunson a job is someone compensating Jalen Brunson is bullshit. Okay? It's bullshit. So Pablo, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't finding nothing now. Stop it.